The Weight of Silence, a Stuttgart insider threat story. Welcome to the OPSEC Minute Extended. Join us each Monday for OPSEC tips, insights, and connections to broader Army security practices delivered through text and video. Now let's get to today's secure narrative. The fluorescent lights of the USAG Stuttgart Directorate of Public Works DPW Work Center hummed a monotonous tune, a soundtrack to the daily grind of patching potholes and wrangling bureaucratic paperwork. Jesse Ramirez, a Department of Army civilian DAC, and relatively new arrival, 6 months in, still battling the German language and occasionally ordering currywurst when he meant to ask for mustard, was engrossed in drafting a press release about upcoming infrastructure improvements. He genuinely wanted to make a positive impact, to be that guy who smoothed things over with the local big dog or rung. But let's be real, the world of concrete and cabling was a far cry from the thrilling cybersecurity work he'd envisioned. He'd completed the initial OPSEC training, a PowerPoint-fueled afternoon that felt more like a compliance exercise than actual preparation. That was about to change. The annual security briefings were underway, and today's focus was the Insider Threat Program. Alonso Edwards, the Garrison Command Security Manager, a man whose default expression was one of perpetual mild disappointment, started with a sobering statistic. The vast majority of data breaches aren't caused by external hackers, folks. They're caused by insiders, people with authorized access who misuse that access, intentionally or unintentionally. He paused, letting that sink in. Think of it like this. We spend millions building a fortress, but then leave the key under the doormat because we trust the guy with the key. Bad plan. Mr. James Brooks, JB, the Garrison's OPSEC officer, a former intel analyst with a dry wit and a wardrobe seemingly consisting entirely of khaki, followed. Financial pressures, personal grievances, ideological beliefs. These aren't excuses, they're vectors. Opportunities for someone to make a bad decision. Think of it like a pressure cooker. Everyone has their boiling point. Question is, what's going to turn up the heat? He adjusted his glasses. And for the record, complaining about the perpetually broken coffee machine doesn't qualify, no matter how justified you feel. That's just good garrison morale building. Then Robert Taylor, the protection chief, took the podium. Taylor carried himself with a quiet authority, his demeanor reflecting years of experience protecting critical assets. He didn't rely on theatrics. His message was delivered with directness and a clear sense of purpose. He began by outlining the evolving threat landscape and the increasing sophistication of insider threats. The reality is, he said, his voice resonating with seriousness, we operate in a complex environment. Our adversaries are constantly probing for vulnerabilities, and often, those vulnerabilities lie within our own ranks. Protecting our mission requires constant vigilance and a willingness to report anything that seems out of place. He then highlighted a critical resource. We've invested in a fantastic tool, built right here in Stuttgart, the Bystander-Engagement SharePoint reporting platform. It's secure, anonymous, and designed to make reporting concerning behavior as easy as sending an email. No forms, no chain of command headaches, just a quick, confidential way to raise a flag. He demonstrated the platform's interface on the screen, emphasizing the concerned face emoji. This isn't about creating a climate of suspicion. It's about empowering everyone to be part of the solution. It's about protecting each other and protecting the mission. Agents from Army CI Stuttgart reinforced the message, detailing real-world cases, a logistics officer gambling away his security clearance, a frustrated IT specialist selling access to a hostile nation, a disgruntled admin assistant leaking sensitive documents out of spite. They emphasized the importance of reporting, even if it seemed insignificant. One agent showed a photo of a seemingly harmless sticky note found attached to a classified document. This, she said grimly, cost us a year of intelligence gathering. A sticky note. Seriously, people, invest in a shredder. Jesse listened, but a nagging discomfort began to grow. He'd noticed something odd about Klaus Weber, a long-term DPW employee. A man who'd been with the garrison since Jesse was still in high school. Klaus had recently become withdrawn, his normally jovial demeanor replaced with a quiet desperation. He'd frequently complain about mounting debt, a sick mother, unexpected medical bills, a son struggling through university. His stories always delivered with a sheepish shrug and a plea for understanding. He was also strangely obsessed with winning the annual garrison chili cook-off, spending hours perfecting his recipe and muttering darkly about his rivals. And he'd started spending an unusual amount of time accessing classified network drives he didn't typically need for his job, focusing on infrastructure schematics and personnel files. Jesse had dismissed it as personal issues, not wanting to interfere. He'd convinced himself Klaus was just having a rough patch, that it wasn't his place to pry. Plus, Klaus always brought the best LebcoCon to the office holiday parties. A man who made LebcoCon didn't seem capable of nefarious deeds. During the Q&A, an agent, a sharp-eyed woman named Schmidt, posed a direct question. What if you observe a colleague exhibiting concerning behaviors? What do you do? A hesitant silence filled the room. Robert Taylor jumped in, his voice firm and measured. You report it. To your supervisor, to security management, to the CIA agents, and utilize the Bystander-Engagement platform. It's designed to protect your anonymity and ensure the information reaches the right people quickly and efficiently. It's not about accusing anyone. It's about raising awareness and allowing professionals to assess the situation. Schmidt added, the cause of an insider threat is often complex, a slow burn of desperation and opportunity. But the effect can be catastrophic. Compromised operations, stolen data, even loss of life. The consequence of inaction is far greater than the discomfort of making a report. And accountability rests with all of us. She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. Yes, let's be honest, folks. Sometimes the biggest threat isn't coming through the gate. It's sitting right beside you at the coffee machine, meticulously stirring sugar into their coffee, potentially jeopardizing our mission. Suddenly, Jesse felt the weight of his silence. The excuses he'd crafted, not wanting to interfere, not wanting to seem like a snitch, not wanting to ruin Klaus's lebkucking baking reputation, felt flimsy and inadequate. The briefing had shattered his rationalization. He now understood that ignoring concerning behavior wasn't neutrality, it was negligence. It wasn't respecting Klaus's privacy. It was potentially enabling a betrayal of trust with devastating consequences. He also realized that Klaus's intense focus on winning the chili cook-off might not have been just about bragging rights. After the briefing, Jesse found himself pacing outside the work center, the chilly Stuttgart air doing little to cool his racing thoughts. He wrestled with his conscience. Reporting Klaus felt like a betrayal, especially given the man's personal struggles. But not reporting him felt like a greater betrayal, a betrayal of his duty to protect the garrison and its mission. He pictured the sticky note, the compromised intelligence, and the potential fallout. He finally walked to his desk and, taking a deep breath, logged onto the garrison's SharePoint site. He navigated to the Bystander-Engagement reporting platform, a simple, intuitive interface that belied its critical importance. He selected the concerning behavior category, carefully detailing his observations about Klaus. Focusing on the facts and avoiding speculation, he hesitated over the concerned face emoji, then clicked it. The report was submitted. It took less than 5 minutes. They felt a mixture of relief and anxiety. He'd done the right thing, but the consequences were unknown. Soon after, the investigation began, discreetly managed by the CI team under Taylor's watchful oversight. Taylor ensured the investigation was thorough and sensitive, prioritizing both security and the well-being of those involved. He later informed Jesse that the quick, anonymous report submitted through the Bystander-Engagement platform had provided the crucial initial lead. They needed to begin surveillance and uncover the scheme. The investigation revealed Klaus was indeed struggling with significant debt and had been approached by a foreign intelligence service. His access to classified systems was immediately revoked, and a full security assessment was conducted. Jesse learned later that his report had been instrumental in preventing a potentially serious breach. He also learned that Klaus, while facing legal consequences, was receiving support to address his financial difficulties and gambling addiction. The experience was a turning point for Jesse. He understood that OPSEC wasn't just about shredding documents or crypting emails. It was about a culture of vigilance, a commitment to protecting information, and a willingness to speak up when something didn't feel right. Learned that the insider threat wasn't a distant concept, but a real and present danger, lurking beneath the surface of everyday interactions. He'd gone from a passive observer to an active participant in safeguarding the garrison, realizing that sometimes the most important thing you can do is break the silence, and that the Bystander-Engagement platform provided a safe and effective way to do just that. He vowed to permanently switch to black coffee and to always, always trust his gut. He also appreciated Taylor's quiet professionalism and understood the weight of responsibility he carried as the garrison's protection chief. We're all about promoting our security programs in a way that fits with Army rules and leadership goals. Whether you like listening to these stories or reading our weekly emails, we really want your thoughts. Just give us a thumbs up or drop a comment to let us know what you prefer.